We should be.
It's
should be.
brisk.
I think so. Woo, it's cold out here today.
brisk.
It's real cold, but I wanted some room to move.
Yes.
All right, so we are live. We should be live everywhere.
Yep.
Should have fixed the YouTube. Should have fixed the Facebook and Twitch. So we should be live in 3 different places.
Yeah.
And should have fixed the notification. Should all be there. Everything should be working. So we got to play with that a little bit. So everything hopefully good. Let me know. Make sure it's not muted.
Send us thumbs up.
Not muted. All right, we're good. Okay.
Yesterday we were talking and it was just muted.
First 3 minutes we had nothing.
It
Okay,
was
so
embarrassing.
for those of you who don't know, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Macy.
This is LSH Live. We're helping you guys be better riders through this whole deal. We go on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, right? We're all over those places.
And then our horsetraining.live also.
Yes, check out horsetraining.live. So that site has all of our, you can see the live videos, and then it links right up to our YouTube. So
Yep.
horsetraining.live, so you can check us out there. And that'll be anytime that we're live, we'll be on there.
Yep.
Okay?
You guys
so then,
hear the audio okay? It's kind of windy out.
It is a little windy today, so
But
we're
that mic's usually like a beast. So.
It is. It's small but mighty.
It is. Mighty.
So normally we are only doing our Patreon stuff, so patreon.com/LSH Live.
LSH Live. It's hard to talk in the cold.
LSH Live. But since we're all quarantined together, we figured we might as well open this up to the world and share with you guys what we're doing. So what we're going to do today is a bit of showmanship stuff.
Yep.
Okay? So we're going to take a horse that I've never done showmanship with. It's a horse that's newer in my program. You guys saw him a couple weeks ago, the Charlie horse.
Yep.
I've not touched him in showmanship yet. So hopefully what we see is some of the common problems that you guys run into with your horses doing showmanship, and we can kind of go from there and run into some of the same problems.
Right.
Okay? So that's kind of where we're going to end up today. Let me know. Good, very good. Yeah, share this, please. Tag your friends, share this, get the word out, let everybody know that we are live. Hey, Lynn.
Hi.
Good. Okay, so there's a notification. Shared, yes.
It.
Thanks, Mike. We were live for like 2 hours.
Yeah, it actually, we're just going to test it out, but it ended up
being really fun. So we were live for like 2 hours, and we were, that ended up being a really good time, just talking about all sorts of stuff. We'll probably do a little bit more of that tonight.
Maybe tonight or tomorrow. I got some school to do too.
Depending on how late this runs, how late it ends up being when we finish up here. But what I want to do is I got some pictures of people's horses. And
Yes.
people had asked, will you do the confirmation and evaluate my horse? So I thought it would be really fun if we could get that on my computer and just go live with you guys, and we can do it live that way. That'd be a really good time.
It'd be really fun.
Showing for Facebook. YouTube doesn't seem to be running.
See, I told you.
That darn thing. All right, well, that's okay. That's okay. So YouTube's got a weird like share now thing versus live events, and sometimes it just makes an event and doesn't actually go live. Who knows?
No.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
That's so annoying.
That's weird. Well, we've got notifications on there. We'll chat with you guys on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube, that's all right.
Yeah. Then we'll get the horse?
Yeah, so go ahead and get him.
Okay.
I'll sit and hang out with you guys for a minute, and we'll go from there. Can I take a pic of? Yeah, absolutely. Send pictures of whatever horses you guys want, and we'll go over them, and we'll kind of go from there, and we'll figure out like what we like about each one. And like if you send a picture of your horse in, don't tell me anything about it. All right. So like some of you guys' horses I'm gonna know, but don't tell me anything about your horses because I want to be able to pick it apart, and you tell me if what I'm saying is right or not. So based on how they look, we should be able to do that. Yesterday's event, no event today. Yeah, see, I don't know. It's weird. Very strange. Hello. Kathy, how are you? So we're gonna do showmanship. Like I said, I've never seen this horse before. I don't really know him, other than I know he's been shown. I know he's done like some open shows and some pinto shows and stuff like that. So he should hopefully have a lot of the same problems you guys are gonna run into, and I'll kind of walk you through how I get to know a new horse in the showmanship aspect of it. I know yesterday, if you missed it, we talked about kind of figuring out where we put our horse as far as like if it's if you don't know much about your horse or you don't know where to pick up in this program, how to go through the grades and how to figure out where your horse kind of falls in place. So hopefully we'll be able to do that with this horse, figure out where he is, what he knows, what he doesn't know, because that's what you want to know, right? Whenever you're dealing with your horse, we want to know right away, where's he at, what does he know, what doesn't he know, and kind of build from there, all right? So like I said, I'm usually going to go right back down to basics, go down to grade 1, and let him kind of tell me where he's going to be as far as like his level of broke. If he fails grade 1, right, then we can go back through. Hi, Dad. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we'll go from there. Should be exciting. Should be kind of fun. Hopefully we don't make him too mad or fry him. So hopefully his owner will log on here in a little bit. She'll get to see him go too. That'd be really fun. But yeah, awesome. You wanted to be out here.
I like it.
This is Macy's idea. She wanted to be out here so bad.
I think it's so pretty outside.
So pretty. You can't see it, but my eyes unfreeze, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'll take this.
This is going to be our trusty steed for the day. We are here with little Charlie.
Charlie.
He's
8.
He's 8, yeah, something like that.
We've never done showmanship ever, so this will
Yep.
be very interesting.
Yes, yes. So we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to start off chain over the nose. He might not know anything about that, but we can teach him. Hopefully we find some holes and stuff like that. Better than we found on Peanut, because Peanut didn't really act up the way I wanted to.
All right, you
Peanut's
ready?
a very good girl.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
flip this around.
Perfect.
My hands are too cold; they can't get flipped.
Yeah, no kidding. Alrighty.
Okay, 1 second. Let me grab it now. Okay. Here we go.
All right, ready?
Ready.
Okay, so beginner basic showmanship to advanced. Hopefully we get to see the whole range of stuff, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do, chain over the nose. I wanna find out what he knows versus what he doesn't know, okay? So what do I see? Just kind of evaluating. He's not real focused, so that's okay. As we kind of build up the intensity, he'll come out here and be really focused right away. So another tip for you guys, we don't put the chains on unless it's time to go to work, okay? So one thing, like if I'm standing here doing showmanship, if I was in a class and I was not actively practicing, I'm gonna take this and flip it back to itself, okay? So this is how he knows he can relax and look around. This is how I know I can sit and socialize with my friends, and he knows he's not on the clock, right? When I want him to be in the zone is when we put the chains on, okay? So kind of take your horse and let him know, like, hey, you're free to just chill, so I don't have to be on my A game and I can kind of stand like this and chat with people. But if he's gonna be, it's time to go to work, it's time to warm up, we're gonna go right here, stick the chain on him, and go from there, okay? So I'm gonna go over the nose first. We'll kind of see where he's at. I'm just gonna move him around a little bit. Okay, so see how this is everybody's backup, right? So very first thing I'm gonna check, do you move backwards, right, off my body, okay? And without the use of my hand, okay, without the use of my chain, we can see here that if I was on the clock, right, say even with the chain under his nose, right, if I'm here like this and I move backwards, look, that means nothing to him, okay? So see how my shoulders and his shoulders are not connected. We want our horse to understand, don't break the plane of my shoulders. So when my shoulders are here, your shoulders should move back. See how he does not know that, right? So when I move my shoulders around, we are not dance partners, right? I want him to be right here with me, that we move our shoulders all the time together, right? And see, he's just not going to do that. So when you back this horse off, what I'm gonna end up with is I'm not gonna get this moving backwards. This is what you have to have move backwards. This line right here of his chest has got to move back. And it's the same thing that we talk about with riding, right? So when I push this horse back, he's gonna give right here in his neck. And we can take that and say, you know what? We saw that with the riding stuff, where these horses fold up right here and they bow up right here in their neck and they don't move their shoulders. So when I push on my horse with my body, I want his shoulders to move, all right? This piece back has got to move, not this. This needs to stay straight, okay? So we're gonna see that. We're gonna see this horse bend his neck and back up crooked, right? Because remember, a good showmanship horse, we talked before, stays straight head to tail. So when I'm right here and I go to back this horse off, he's not gonna move. He's gonna wait on my chain to come into him, and he's gonna back slow. So right here, not gonna move. There's my chain. Everybody's back up. Y'all seen this, right? Bow up in our neck, fold our chin under, and back really slow, right? So I'll come in front of you guys so you see that. What should happen when I back my horse off is he should move his chest, right? This should step backwards because my shoulders got closer to his chest. So when I come here and I back him up, see my chin fold under, right? And I'm gonna get crooked, guaranteed to get crooked there, okay? I'll show you on this side so you can see it. Right here, backing off my chain. This is where the majority of you guys are gonna be with your horses, backing off your chain, okay? I don't want my horse to bow up right here. That's from pushing your horse backwards with your hand, all right? I am not going to push my horse backwards with my hand. So we gotta watch for that, right? Watch for that to show up in everything that we do, that he folds up right here, okay? So very first thing I try to do is back up. Can we back up? No, and see how I end up buried behind his shoulder? It's really hard to back your horse up if you end up somewhere back here in his chest. Then you take back off and you go back forward, he's gonna be way behind me, right? Because now look, he is not keeping up with me. So we're gonna trot him around. See, he's at my hand. This is behind me, especially for a left turn, right? Now he's fairly light here, so that's good. Like that. Push him up. Good. Good. Ready, stop. Very good. Like how he stops. Awesome. Come back up. Stop. Good. Set him up. Now, uncertainty, right? You see him not sure what foot to move. A lot of not sure which foot he's supposed to move. Okay? So this is where, like that peanut work that we did comes in handy, because he's never going to not know which leg he's supposed to move. So when I went to his chain right there and I clucked to him, sometimes he moved the outside hind, sometimes the inside hind was moving. He wasn't sure where he's supposed to go, so I got my weight changing all the time. So there's not that consistency in my setups, because he's not sure which leg to use. Okay? So we go from here to a pivot. Got a decent turn on him. A little slow. Okay. Good. So, do you see how partway through that turn I got a little bend in my neck? Started hooking around right there. I want him to stay straight head to tail. So I got to speed this shoulder up a little bit more. He does a good job keeping his weight back though. All right, I really like that. But I want to get that bend out of his neck. Okay? Good. Good boy. So what I want to do is I want to have this horse be just a little sharper with everything. See that right there? You see how when I walked into him, I ran into his neck first. All right, I'll come back around so you can see that. What I'm looking for in a really good showmanship horse is I want a horse that'll maintain this distance all the time, okay? Wherever my distance is right here, from my hand to his face, needs to stay the same all the time. That's my drape right there, okay? So if I was riding him, we would ride on a drape. That's the drape I want my horse to operate on, okay? So I want him to maintain that distance all the time. So the distance between me and his face, or me and his body, needs to stay the same all the time. So see that gap right there? From my hand to his face. So see, he tried to look over there, which increased the gap. So he got in trouble. If he tries to look towards me and decrease the gap, he's gonna get in trouble. So when I go to pivot, you're gonna see this gap is gonna decrease. I'm gonna end up in his space, and he's gonna bend his neck to get away from me. Okay, so right here, see that? See how I touched the halter coming around there? I don't want to touch the halter coming around. He's gotta move out of my way before I get to punching him in the face, right? This is like gonna bend his neck. See how that bends him? Right there? That's why your pivots aren't as fast as they could be, because your horse is bending. You see that bend? That when I push into him and I go to pivot, I don't have his shoulder in line with the rest of his body. See that hook in my horse's body? He's got a C in him, right? Right there. That's because his face went first. You punched him through your turn, okay? And you bent him around there. So it looks like right here, we come in, we go to pivot right there. See that move? Where it didn't talk to his shoulder first, it talked to his head neck, and I got this before this went, right? Because he's too loose right here. So we gotta stiffen this up on this horse, right? So right there, and that has a lot to do with this right here as well, where I end up like that, right? I'm out of position. I remember what I said when I did showmanship the other day, that when you do showmanship, you live right here. This is how you train a showmanship horse. This is how you do showmanship, right? You want to be balanced and square right here. What happens is, Macy, if you want to be right behind me.
Yep.
If we don't get too much wind right here. All right. So when I back this horse off, see how I want to stay in as much of a showmanship position as possible, right? So you can identify how good is your backup based on how much you change your position. Because if this horse doesn't move his body, can you see my arms? Come on inside a little bit. Yep, there you go. So if this horse doesn't move his body, what's going to happen is he's going to force me to change my position, right? So if I was here set up and then he called for a backup, I'm going to come here and I'm going to back up. And look how I had to change my arm. Do you see how I'm crossed over my body now? Right? That's because he's not moving with me, right? So when you cross over your body and you go from showmanship position here to like this.
You could see it better if you're not facing the sun.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah.
what we're talking about.
That's much better.
Yeah. He's coming here, right? He's gonna make you change your position, all right? I said your horse will be really sharp if you never change your position. So when you get here and you go to back him off and you do this, all this move is don't move. You're giving him room, all right? You're giving him room to not take his shoulders and move backwards. You're giving him room to not have to come backwards. We don't want to do that, right? So if I were to back him up and back well, he'd stay right out there, but look, he's gonna fall down, slow down. If I was to keep going, we'd both end up like this. Right? And then we just kind of spin around like this, and I just lost my showmanship horse, right? So when you back this horse up, I want everything to stay really straight. So I'm here, going to back him off. See, I'm gonna wake him up. I'm gonna say, hey, you gotta get away from me. And see how I pulled out and this way, right? Now he's not sure what that meant, so I'm gonna go to training mode, right? We're gonna go teaching mode. We're gonna go back over his nose with the chain, because I don't want to pick his head up. Remember we talked last time, horses go away from pressure, so when I popped him with the chain right there, he's gonna come up because the chain hit him underneath his chin. He goes up to come away from that pressure. So when you're teaching showmanship, chain goes over the nose, he goes down to get away from pressure, okay? So right here, what I want him to do is I want him to move his shoulders first, right? We talked last time about basic body movement, right? Basic body space, respecting my space, respecting what I'm doing. And that's what I gotta have first, okay? So if I want to teach this horse how to back up, this gap right here, see how it didn't talk to his legs? He never moved a foot, but I did, right? I made a big foot move towards him. Look how it doesn't affect his legs at all, right? If I make that big, hard, fast move, he should be moving, right? So see how that ends up? That's where you lose your space right there. So you come right here, look at the gap between my horse and my hand. If I move towards him and he doesn't move, look how that gap is gone, right? That's my drape. He's running through me, right? So we want to get to where he respects this distance all the time, okay? If he changes the distance right here to right here, these couple inches are what I'm talking about, right? The side of his halter, the side of his face, and this right here, okay? And then the distance from my hand to his shoulders away. I want all those things to stay the same all the time. So if you took a ruler and you held it out in front of me, say I had this should always stay at his halter, right? So this should be even with the level of his halter all the time, okay? See that distance? But if I come here, look how it's not. That's just because he's not moving, right? What's he waiting on? He's waiting on me to push my hand. See that? Now look, am I keeping the distance? No, right? Am I moving backwards though? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not a credit earning backup, right? He's not actually getting out of the way. So he's not gonna be getting round, all right? I want my horse to shift his weight back and propel himself backwards, right? I want him to make athletic moves, backing up, okay? We're gonna get this horse out of picture perfect showmanship mode and get into training showmanship, right? I don't want it to look like a show. I want it to look like a workout, right? And then we can go show later, right? So I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna come up, right? See how I pick his neck up and I bump up here, because that's gonna get his neck up, which lets me talk to his shoulders, all right? And I'm gonna have to get into this horse's attitude a little bit to say, hey, you don't know what you're doing, right? I gotta shake him up a little bit and say, hey, you've gotta pay attention to me. You gotta respect my space. So those of you guys that have dull horses, right? Or you get bit when you go to back up, that's why, because you have to get so close to his face in order to back up, right? So I'm gonna come back forward, I'm gonna back up. But see, I kissed and he didn't go anywhere, right? He's gotta be having a sense of, whoa, I gotta move here, right? He's kissing, he's coming at me with some force. I gotta get out of the way, right? So I'm gonna come back up, pull him around. There, see the difference? Right there, he moved out of my space, so I'm gonna pet him, right? I don't want him fearful of me, and I don't want him resenting me, so that's why I always make sure I pet him, right? And when I pet him, I'm looking for him to soften and release his jaw. If he'll lick and chew and take a breath, then I know he understood why he got in trouble and why he's getting rewarded for doing it right, right? Now, I didn't get that. So he doesn't understand why he got in trouble right there. And I absolutely know why he doesn't understand, right? He thinks he's been doing showmanship right for the last 6 years of his life, and now I'm telling him you're doing it wrong, right? And he's not gonna understand that in the beginning. That's why you have to untrain it first and then retrain the new habit. So I have to untrain the fact that he's been taught to not move his shoulders, and then retrain the fact that he's gotta move his shoulders when I move, right? So I come here, come back around, move your feet. Good, good, good boy. We come back up. I gotta do a couple of these in a row. Good boy, good boy. Right, and remember, this is a horse that's new in training for me, so he doesn't know what good boy and pet means, right? There's my lick and chew, right? So he doesn't know what that means yet. So I wanna make sure that when he does lick and chew and release that jaw, I'm right here to say, that's what I want, right? I want him to work hard for me, okay? So I'll slow that showmanship down when he licks and chews to know, hey, you did it right. That's what I'm looking for, because I don't want him to be pin-eared. I don't want him to not like me. And right here, this takes it all away, right? When you pet him, you tell him, good boy, we're all friends again, right? It's all good, okay? But you have to respect me. You gotta respect my space. You gotta respect my commands, okay? So here, we're gonna back again. Good. And see how I just go a couple steps. All I want is him to get out of my way. If he'll get out of my way, I'm good, right? I'm not gonna get aggressive with him if he's gonna get out of my way. Now, if he buries himself, or he allows me to get buried behind his neck into his shoulders, he's gotta get in trouble, okay? So I'm gonna come back up. We're gonna come over here. Good, good. Remember, I'm just very basics, right? Get out of my space. When I kiss and I step towards you, you gotta move, all right? If you wanna test that, walk into his shoulder. There.
That's good.
That hurried step across there? That's what I'm talking about. See how I didn't have to punch his face to get him to pivot then? So if he'll step up and be like, whoa, I gotta get out of this guy's way, then my horse will do showmanship a lot better, right? And look at him, look at me for guidance now. He's like, should I be paying attention to this? Should I be following you? That's what I want in a showmanship horse. So that's why you see me walking backwards, and I'm gonna pull him up here, because I want him to be really paying attention to me. We see him looking at the street. He's not sure what he should be paying attention to. That's what I want, right? Come around, get up, there. See, and you guys, like, don't get aggressive and forget what you're doing. Stay in the middle. Stay in the middle, don't jump me, right? So I pet his forehead and he tried to duck away from me, right? So he's trying to pretend like I don't exist. That's not gonna work for me, right? So see how I just yanked him back to the middle? Said, you stay right here. If he were to look really far over that way, he'd get in trouble. See that lick and chew right there? That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. So good boy.
He's a really quick learner.
Yep.
Lynn said. He is really quick.
Yep. But the key to that is he's getting released. He's not getting beat up, right? They're gonna learn really fast if you can be black and white about what's acceptable and what's not. And that's the key to it. As long as you're black and white about what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing, and you reward him when he gets it right, you can teach your horse to do showmanship really fast.
What about the horse that is so, oops, it's cold outside. What about the horse that is always so interested in everything else and won't necessarily stand still?
He's not interested in you, right?
Right.
So, okay, so that's a good point.
This is Michelle in text.
Okay, so here's the difference. You go out there and work with Tex, begging him to worry about you, right? Think about that. You're gonna go out there and try to chase him standing still, right? Your idea, stand still, his idea, move. Okay, so that's your disconnect, right? What you have to think about is, instead of trying to chase what it is you want, think about what he wants, all right? When I work with this horse, he wants to stand still because moving is a lot of work. Does that make sense? So when it's his idea, it's fun. When it's your idea, it's work. So I'm not trying to make this horse back up. I'm trying to make him get out of my space. Do you see how much better he stands because of it? Right? Make him move. Give him more of what he wants. And then he'll appreciate standing still. So if I was out here and this horse was dancing all over the place, I'm gonna make him go to work. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna move our hip. We're gonna back up. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna move. And then I'm gonna pet him. He's gonna lick and chew. He's gonna be like, whew, I'm really glad I get to stand now. There's my lick and chew, right? I'm really thankful I get to stand now. Okay, go ahead.
What about a horse that has been overtrained and bites and gets anxious during showmanships?
That's unfortunate. So the hardest part about that is usually the horse that bites is the same horse that's been overdone with your chain.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would tell you is, like when I walk towards this horse, I'm gonna use my voice and my line, all right? But you're gonna have to really make sure you pet that horse.
Lots and lots of pets. Yep.
Tons of petting, right? See, my horse has been licking and chewing. I wanna reach up and pet him right here. You'll know if you're doing a good job because like he stays in the middle, his head and neck stays right here on my palm, but he's not dropping his head in, all right? If he'll drop his head in and just say, hey, you're the boss, right? Because in his world, if your head's down, that's submissive. So I wanna know, is he gonna drop his head down right here and submit to me and say, hey, you're the boss, right? You're the one in charge? Or is he gonna look at off over in the sunset and pretend I don't exist? So if you go up to pet his forehead, he jerks his head away like you don't exist, you don't have him here, right? You gotta think about that herd order. When you're on the ground with him, the person in charge moves your feet, all right? And we talked about that when we were riding too. I don't let my horses move my feet. I control his feet. So he's not paying attention right here, pay attention to me, right? Now I pet him, he stays on me, right? So you've gotta make sure when you're working with your horse, you're the one making his feet move, all right? If you're reacting to what he's doing, like he bites you and you're reacting by shanking him, you're teaching him that he gets to call the shots and you're setting yourself up to get bit, right? So again, did you see how when I made this horse move, it didn't look like showmanship? Okay, get your head out of thinking about like, well, how do I make my horse stand still for showmanship? Think instead, how do I make my horse move so that when I'm done asking him to do things, he looks like a showmanship horse, right? Another question?
Yep. What do you do if the only time, for the most part, that they try to bite the chain is when they're in the ring and not at home?
That's hard. That's a tough one. So that's usually a horse that knows better, right? He's been around the block. And I think that, more than anything, is one of the reasons why we don't go show before we're ready, all right? I'm a big believer that there's a certain number of runs that your horse has in them. Every horse's number is different, but every horse has a certain number of runs before they get wise to it, right? Before they try to cheat you. If you were to go show that horse before he was ready, right? If I still had all these holes, I don't need to go show this horse yet, right? If he's biting me and he's looking away and he's not like doing this stuff, I don't need to go show him yet, but people do. And then they run into problems that they can't fix in the show pen. They have to ignore them, even though that horse was probably doing it at home and they just ignored it, right? So for the horse that bites you in the show pen, my advice would be, don't practice showmanship, practice ground manners, right? And ground manners being, if I look at this hip, I'm gonna move that hip, right? If I come right here, I'm gonna move that shoulder. If I come over here, I'm gonna move that hip. So that when I come back across here and I pet him, he's gonna drop in and lick and chew for me, right? See? Perfect. I can't make him do that, right? But what I got was a horse that said, you're the boss. You made me move my feet. I submit, I give, right? And if a horse is biting you, he's not giving to you being the boss, right? Go ahead.
Any tips for a horse that incurves his body instead of keeping it straight during a 360?
He does what?
Like he curves it?
Oh, that's what we're doing right here, right? So what I'm doing is making sure that this horse moves his body and not just his neck, all right? So when I go to pull this horse around and I pull across there, did you hear that chain bite? It goes clink, 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 and then he comes up into it, right? But what did I get first? I got his neck, right? So when I pulled across here, what went first there? That was much softer. So when I pull him around, what I want his leg. See how I got his neck? I got all that before he took a step. So if you watch that move back, what he's gonna do, he's gonna lift his neck and then his foot. And I want, when I pull, he just moves his foot, right? When I put pressure on there, I'm talking to his legs, not his neck and his chin. Good.
We're going over parents right now, Jasmine. She said she's having a hard time with her mare sticking the correct foot.
Okay. Yep.
And then she ends up sprawled out in the back end.
Yep. So that's what we're gonna do, right? So again, you guys are worried about showmanship, okay? Don't worry about showmanship until you have this, right? So if this is our ground rules, right? This horse has a lot of good things about his showmanship. There's a lot of things I like about his showmanship, but there's some baseline grade 1 stuff that he doesn't know, right? So no different than when we rode yesterday and we talked about those different grade levels of our horse. If you have problems in high school or college level maneuvers, like sticking a pivot foot or keeping your neck straight when you pivot, go back to 1st or 2nd grade and find those holes, right? And the hole that I have in this horse, you can beat him up trying to make him pivot all day. But what you're gonna find is I am not gonna pivot him again until the end of this video, and I assure you he'll pivot pretty, all right? I'll put money on it, he'll pivot pretty, okay? So what I'm gonna do is get his body working, right? I'm not gonna back him up pretty until the end of this video, but what I am gonna do is make sure that I have a hold of his legs. So are you following me, right? So I'm gonna get into him, I'm gonna reach up and pet him, okay? And like I said, we wanna practice our showmanship hard and fast. There's my lick and chew. Good boy.
He's so funny when he does it. His little lip like quivers and he does it.
So we wanna do hard and fast showmanship, okay? Move your feet. Make some urgency when you're working with him, okay? So now I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna make his hip move again. There's his hip. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna make this leg move. I'm putting the same buttons on that I was putting on Peanut, right? Going back to 1st grade, because when we practice showmanship, we practice high school. We don't put the foundation of showmanship in there, right? Good.
What's the best tips on teaching a horse who refuses to move his feet to square up for inspection?
Again, you don't have his legs, right? So this right here.
So we're doing all of it right here, yep.
Yep, go back to 1st grade. You don't have a hold of his feet. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. Instead of his hip, I'm gonna push and I want this leg to move. This leg, stuck, there. Move it off. When I put pressure underneath and over, give me this leg right here. I'm gonna come and do that again. That leg, there. See him twist his head? He said, you can't have it, right? I'm coming under on the other side. I'm shaking towards that shoulder. There. And you see how he's keeping his neck flatter, right? That's what I want. So I'm gonna pet him, I'm gonna give him a chance to think about that. What was that like? What happened there? Right? Come across, pet his forehead. He's staying with me, which I like. I'm gonna come here. So see how I was getting a lot of that head twist? I stayed in until he gave me his legs. I'm gonna come back forward. There, much softer. Good. I'm gonna come around. Big loop, right front leg. Good. Big loop, right front leg. Good. I want a lot of softness right there. A lot of softness. There's my lick and chew. Good, go ahead.
Michelle and Jasmine said, for scurrying them up, sometimes Tex will stand like a Morgan with his back feet sprawled out. When I try to correct, he pushes his shoulders back and does the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. Hold on. Hold on. Good. So right here, get this leg. Move your hip. Move around. So when it's hip going, and then this shoulder. All right? So right here, move your hip. Move that shoulder. You see how he left that leg out there? Right? Again, so thinking about Tex, right? Thinking about those horses that stop out here. What is he not doing? Right? Don't think of it as showmanship, because you're still in that mindset. You're still going, well, he's not setting up pretty. Give him a reason to, right? Why does this horse have to set up pretty? Because he needs to be ready to do something else, right? And what's happening is you're losing your momentum through your class, right? Because you're working on setting up. I'm not gonna work on setting up. I'm gonna work on this horse getting light off the chain so that when I ask, I cluck and I press, a foot's moving, always, right? That's what we're working on right here. That when I press on him, he's moving a foot, okay? Because if you come out here and you're out here doing this, right? I'm out here, I'm gonna pull him up. I'm gonna go, okay, time to work on my setups.
Stop it.
This is what happens, right? Time to work on my setups. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna drill this setup for 5 minutes, right? No. Did I get a setup there? Yeah, he set up, right? But there was no urgency, right? There was no sense of, I gotta get my feet square because I don't know what's happening next, right? That was thinking about showmanship in terms of, it's gotta be pretty at the show, right? That was babysitting. If that's what my setup had to be at a show, on show day, that's fine. That's what you end up with for the day, right? And I would go back and look at my prep work and decide, did I prepare this horse properly? But if I'm at home, I'm never gonna tolerate a setup that takes that long, right? So what I would do is I would say, let's get your feet moving. Let's get up here, let's do something. I got some head twist right there. There's my hole, right there. I wanna get under his skin and find out, where's the hole? What leg don't I have a hold of? Right? Let's come over here. Let's come out here. Good. Want to trot up. Good. Let's come over here. Good. Trot up here. Let's back off. Good. Let's turn. Good. Let's come back over here. Good. Let's turn. Good. Let's pet it. Good boy. Good boy. Let's back again. Get up. Move your feet. There. Turn. Good. Good boy. Very good. Okay, good showmanship should take your breath away. You should only be able to do 15 minutes of this at the most because you're out of breath. Okay? See him lick and chew? That's what I want. Good boy. Now move his foot. Now this horse knows when I cluck, it's time to move, right? If I cluck and kiss, it's time to move. So you see how I fixed that setup? One cluck. Because he's like, I gotta do something here. Right? This dude's crazy. Okay? Go ahead.
And what would you do for a horse that tries to think ahead of you? For example, he knows I will square up, so he tries before I ask.
It's a good problem to have, right? Kind of where you want to be. So if your horse is thinking ahead, you stop and he's already squaring up, you need to be faster, right? Your horse is better than you are. So you could speed things up, right? Because if I was to stop this horse right here and I turn and he sets himself up, show, you're ready, you've done your job, right? Allow him to. Now, the problem that you're gonna run into, and this is why this strategy works, is I don't practice patterns with him. I don't practice my show pattern with him, all right? Because he doesn't need to know the pattern. What he needs to do is be a willing partner with me, that he always is with me all the time. So I come up here, I'm gonna move out, stop, we're gonna back, good boy, we're gonna pivot, we're gonna walk. He's always with me, right? We're gonna set up, whoa, good. He's always with me, right? That's what I want. I don't need him to know the pattern. I need him to know you better unquestioningly follow me because I'm gonna lead you through this class. And that's where people go wrong, all right? So what I would do is I would say, okay, I've got my horse baseline broke. He's college level showmanship, ground manners broke. So now I'm gonna look at the pattern we have coming up and I'm gonna work on the elements of that pattern. Because each pattern has got something that the judge is testing you to say, is your horse broke to do this? Is he broke to do this? Could you go trot into left turn? Does he come forward off a chain? Could you go trot into right hard corner? Does he respect your space and move off your body? Could you back an L? Do you have control of his legs, right? That's what the judges are asking you. Do you have control of his legs in this manner, right? So those are the maneuvers I would practice. So we would use our pattern work as ways to tell, do we have a hold of his body in that type of maneuver, right? So you're never gonna practice a full pattern with him. I'm gonna work on elements of patterns. And the whole rest of the time, all I'm worried about is, do you stay right here with me? Are you focused and do you move right here with me? So when I come around, see his neck stay straighter, right? He didn't take his neck off position. He didn't need me to punch his face to turn, right? Because I have him respecting my body now, right? Come back across here, respect my space, back up, move your feet, there, back up, there, move your feet, good boy, good boy. Come around here, give me your body, better. See how I got his leg? I didn't get the big head fling that time. So now when I go to pivot, much better. See him stay straighter. Okay, so for you guys that were asking about your neck curling, get his body moving. Stop punching him with your hands. See him licking too? That's what I want. Very good. Good.
I have a couple questions.
Yep.
Lauren says, I think this also starts with the daily leading too. Are you letting your horse hang on the halter as you lead him out of their stall? Are they racing ahead of you? If so, you can't expect them to be good during showmanship.
Slightly disagree, because we lead all of our horses around like this. This is how I lead every horse. To and from the pen, to and from their stall, right? This is how every horse of mine leads. Now, if he were to get rushy on me like he tends to do, this horse gets backed off a lot, right? But the difference is, when I back him off, I'm asking him to respect my space. So when I back him off, I'm saying, get away from me like that. Stay way back there. Always respect my space. And then I would go to walk back off like this, right? That's where I want my horse to walk all the time, okay? The difference is, when I put the chain under his nose, he knows it's go time, right? So that's how he's gonna know, right? And the stuff that I'm working on, again, is not showmanship per se. It's the foundational things that you should have to be a great showmanship horse, right? That's why I can do it with the chain over his nose. The foundational thing is, when my body's moving and I'm kissing, you gotta have a sense of urgency, right? You gotta respect my space enough that you get out of my way when I come into you, right? And a lot of you guys can go home and do this, just walk into your horse, you're gonna crash into him, they're not gonna move a muscle, right? You gotta respect your bubble. I always want this horse to respect my bubble. Get out of my bubble. I don't have to have a hold of his face to do that, right? But that's me kissing and me being bigger than him and saying, you better get out of my way, right? But for the majority of you guys at home, I promise you, your horses think they're bigger than you are, right? He doesn't know how big he is, but he knows how big I am. And that's in his world. I can either be really small or really big to him, right? And it's all about who controls those right there. Do I control those, or does he control these? All right? Does he control my legs, or do I control his legs? All right, good.
Another question is from Victoria. What would you do for a horse that spreads his back legs apart when setting them up?
So again, like, I want to have the ability to do that, right? If I take him across here, and I'll set it in kind of 45, maybe you can see that.
Yep.
So if I pull this leg up and I push it back in, if I push it wide, I could be able to step it out right over there, right? I could make it step out in this way and then bring it back up. By the same token, if I pulled that leg up and in over here, there, up and in, and then I back it in place, it should be like he stepped wide right there. I'll pull that back in and then out, right? Now I'm back and way off, pull that leg back up and then push it back in. Push it back up, push it back in. There, whoa. Until I get where I want it, and then I say, whoa, and then I would pet him. did you see how I was making that leg move? And like we said, when we started with this horse, I turned around to set him up and it didn't look like he knew exactly which leg to move. If I spent enough time with this horse, he would only ever move his left hind, all right? So there wouldn't be that indecisiveness about what leg he should move. The other piece of that, when he was moving both legs, did you see how I didn't take the pressure away, right? So if I pull forward right here, I want his left hind to come forward. If the other one comes forward, I'm not gonna turn loose, right? I'm gonna keep pulling forward. So here, left hind forward, good, then I'm out, right? Left hind back, good, and I'm out, okay? So when I pull this horse up, if he moves the other leg, I'm gonna stay in. Left hind back, good, whoa. You see how I'm not chasing a setup position, right? I'm letting him get set up and then I tell him whoa and pet him, right? I'm not trying to force him to come right here. I'm not gonna do these little itty bitty moves until he finds it and then reward him. I'm gonna do this move until he goes like this and then I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna pet him, all right? So he can learn this is where you're supposed to be done with that maneuver. But the rest of the time, you're gonna be pulled forward, push back, pull forward, push back, pull forward, and then if I push back and he only goes to here, pet him. All right, good, go ahead.
What are your suggestions to correct a horse that keeps his nose tipped towards me while walking or trotting? This becomes a problem when we are going straight to the judge, LOL.
Yeah, one of two things, all right? So I'll come straight towards you guys because he might do it too. So when I go straight to the judge, right? Remember my bubble, okay? See him bending? So my bubble, he's on my elbow, right? My elbow is touching him the whole time. I want my horse to drive straight ahead. So he's got to maintain this right here. See this gap between my hand and his halter? That's what he's got to maintain. One of two things is happening, and it's hard to say without handling him myself, but one of two things is happening. Either he's going too far forward with this leg, right? He's out walking you because he's taken too big a step and he's being held back on your side, right? So if you can imagine this horse is way out in front of me and I was kind of holding him back, I'm gonna be curling him around. He won't do it now. I'm gonna be curling him around me like this, right? So if you are back behind him and you're holding him back, he's gonna curl around you. The other piece that is, he's been shanked too much right here and you've slowed this leg down too much. He's hiding this leg from you. Either way, it's the same thing, right? He's doing this with his shoulders, okay? So remember we talk about in riding that what you have from your withers forward is a reflection of what you've got going on from your withers back, all right? Symptom up here, problem back here. This, anything, most things that you see from here forward are a symptom of what you have going on from here back. So if he's curling his neck, you could spend a long time trying to fix his neck, but it's his shoulders that are the problem, because I could push my head neck straight, but look, my shoulders are still messed up, right? Address your shoulders, which is what I've done with this horse coming out here, right? I saw a lot of problems with my neck and my pivots, how he turned his head, and I fixed his shoulders, right? In my backup, I had a problem in my neck. He'd bow up, so I fixed my shoulders, right? Fix these, this will fall in place, right? Same thing when you ride.
Is this Sam Heimstra?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I miss you, Sam. How's Chrome? She said, what do you do with a horse that's overreacted to the chain?
Move quieter. Yep. So we put all this on. We started Chrome, right? So I don't know.
Oh, I miss him.
But Chrome is going to respect everything you're doing. He's going to watch you hard, right? And that horse is really good at showmanship. So what you can do now is you can quiet down, right? Like you shouldn't have to go to the chain much at all. So all I want out of the chain is to drop your head down, which I don't have on this horse there. Okay, drop your head down in the middle. Okay, good. And then whoop, in the middle, and then pick your head up. That's all I want my chain to be able to do, all right? So if he's overreactive off the chain, you're using the chain to do something that should be controlled off your body or your voice, right? So keep that in mind.
Don't try to do stuff with your chain that should be coming out of your body or your shoulders or your legs or your voice. Because that horse, especially if it's chrome you're talking about, is not going to understand trying to back with your chain.
Right.
He wouldn't know that at all. He would get the hell out of Dodge if you backed him with a chain.
Yeah. Michelle said, I know we've gone over this in clinics, but what do you do again when we go straight to the judge and he tips towards me and he moves his body sideways for setup?
Yep. So you don't have, like, this horse needs to know to stay straight all the time. Okay?
She said Chrome's still badass at showmanship.
Oh, good.
Oh, I love him.
Good. I was going to say, that horse shouldn't.
It was Tonto.
Oh, Tonto. Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Hey, Tonto's overreacted about everything, Sam. To be
Aw.
So yeah, so your horse should know how to be square, right? Like, so if he doesn't know how to be square, you can test that by putting some pressure on the chain right here, okay? And I'm gonna straighten this horse out by coming right here, and I'm gonna say, do you stay straight? See how he stays a little bit straighter right there? So before, he used to let me come all the way around like this, right? See how my shoulders and his shoulders are not connected then? I want this horse to know we're gonna stay connected right here. So when I go to back him off, I'm gonna pick my hand straight up. You gotta keep your body straight right here. Keep your body straight. Right there, stay straight. Move all your feet, right? Because if he'd move all of his feet right there, now come up straight. Woo. Stop, back straight. Better, walk straight. Good, stop, back up. Now he hooked his body, right? He hooked his hip out. That's a feel you're gonna have to develop to know if I end up like this with this leg hanging out and this one over here back too far, I know his hip spun out, all right? I didn't need to turn around to see that because I could feel it. So I would do one of two things. I would either step towards him like this and say, get your shoulders squared up and stay straight with me, or I'd come around him over here and say, move this side of your body, right? Move that right front leg, keep your right hind in line, right? So if I was walking up towards a judge and I went to set him up and he spun his hip out like this, he's, again, not paying attention, I'll push that hip around right there. Move that body around, okay? Now come back here, move back up, back off, get up. Good, move back around. Get up. Good. Now I'll come back up. Ooh, much better. Okay, that's what I'd rather do. But see, I went back to basics to fix that, right? You're not gonna be able to fix that by just practicing walking to the judge a lot, right? The only thing that I'm gonna do with a judge is trot through them, right? So you'll have, like, if I was trotting towards Macy, I would have her run backwards so that he wouldn't think about stopping when he got to the judge, which could be some of that. He's just dying out halfway there. Okay, go ahead.
Should we be using a chain that long for training?
Doesn't really matter, right? So you have to think about when you go and you're doing your chain work, right? If you're doing your chain and your chain is too short, you have no leverage. That's why when you see me get after this horse, I'm looking for him to move. Look how far away from him I'm getting. Right? I'm coming way out here, way away from him, because I got lots more leverage right out here than I do if I'm close to his face. So the actual length of the chain doesn't so much matter right here, right? The only thing that having a shorter chain would do is it wouldn't give me any leverage on it. So if I shorten this up, I'll show you.
Oh, I can't believe Sam came on. That's awesome. We do miss you, Sam.
We're in Byron Center. We're so close to you now.
Yeah, you could come back. Come visit us at least.
So if I shorten this chain up a lot, I'll shorten up even more.
It wasn't windy for a minute. It was nice. Yeah, the sun came out. That was really nice. For a minute.
So if I shorten this chain up even more, all I've done is decrease the amount of warning he gets before that chain bites him, right? Now he doesn't really ever get a release. So I don't mind having a little long chain in the beginning because it gives him lots of time to feel that tighten up, right? Remember, our horse gets as loose or as light as the initial ask. So we're gonna start out really light with our chain, and I'm gonna give him lots of room before that bites him. Now the thing about that is, there's not much time between, okay, something's coming and you better be moving. I'm letting him know, dude, if you'd keep up with me, when I come across here, you won't feel that bite at all. But you see how I had to give him a lot more room with that one? Right? Like if I come across here, see now he's watching, right? That's what I want to see. He's not gonna let me get on that side of him, right? So I'm gonna hold his head over, so to come over here, that's a light shoulder.
Yeah.
So when I come back across, little sticky still, but see how I'm moving my feet, right? Like I'm trotting across there. So keep that in mind when you practice in showmanship, you gotta move your feet a little bit. So one of the very first things I'm gonna do with my horses is come here. You better hunt me down. You better be able to move around with me. Whoa. Good boy. Okay. I want him to be athletic all the time. So we're gonna come up here. See now, this is where people would chase the setup. He's not set behind, all right? I am not gonna let him do that. I'm clucking, I'm pushing back. What he's doing is being a showmanship horse, right? If this was show day and I got this, maybe it's acceptable. But for at home, I'm pushing that leg back. I don't care if you're set up. You gotta move your foot. I'm pushing you back and I'm clucking. You gotta move, right? So don't let him think when he gets close, he's done. He's not done until you stop asking, all right? So if I wanna make him come out here, come forward, there, push back, come forward, left hind there, push back, come forward, push back, come forward, push back, push forward, go, push back, push forward, push back. He's not done until I stop asking, right? But I'm gonna stop asking when he's really square. If he's not really square, I'm not gonna stop asking, right? Do you see how he just found square? I didn't chase square. And that's the difference. So we're talking about riding, we're talking about showmanship. I'm not chasing a showmanship position, right? I'm not gonna chase making him stand still. He's gonna be very thankful that he gets to stand still because he doesn't have to move anymore, right? That's what I'm looking for. This is a horse that's very content to just stand here, right? Very content to just stand, right? That's what I would much rather have, all right? Good, very good.
He was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Very, very good.
Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, yeah.
You can shoot them our way.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm proud of him.
That was very good. So now, see, like I went to turn right there and he curled his neck. Now I can pull out with my chain to square that up, right? So he can't hide curled over here anymore because I have a way to pull to keep these front legs coming out.
So this is how you fixed the curl and everything in his body.
Yep, yep. It's just getting control of these right here. It's that move right here. Get those shoulders moving with me, okay? So that he moves when I move. See how he's not curling his neck when I ask him to pivot now? Because when I kiss, he knows he's got to move. Otherwise, you're going to spend the rest of the time hitting this shoulder, right? And I see him tense up. I go smack this shoulder, I can feel it tense up. And look what you're going to do. You're going to bend him the other way. You're going to end up with a horse that does this. If you hold him to you and smack this shoulder. Get all of this straightened out. Make him stay straight all the time right here. When I pull him around, see how he's straight? Right? I want him to stay straight head to tail. Right up here. Good boy. Don't be scared, right? Don't be fearful. Good boy. But see him set up automatically? Lick and chew right there. That's what I want. That's how I know I'm done. So that's my workout for the day. But that's a good setup. I didn't chase that setup. What I chased was teach him to be ready to do something. Do you want to show him that?
Yep.
Whoa.
Oh.
Uh,
I whistled too soon.
but that was real. I mean, that's still pretty good. But
Yeah.
That's very square, right? I'm not worried about my horse being really stretchy. If he's really stretchy, he wasn't in an athletic position to be with, right? In the first place. This horse, this is probably the tightest setup I've seen him have this whole time. And it was one that he got on his own. Because before, he'd been really stretchy through most of his setups. Okay, so when you're done, take your chain off, let him know he's off the clock, right? Now you can relax. And Sam right there, Sam Heimstrut's in the chat. She was one that went to the Pinna World with us with a 4-year-old.
You hate doing your chains like that.
No, I always do.
Aren't you always afraid they're gonna put their foot through it?
Okay, so we were gonna get there.
Okay, okay.
So Sam was one that went to the Pinna World with a 4-year-old horse that never shown before, and she ended up being top 10. Congratulations again, Sam.
Congratulations.
And what we did was we warmed our horse up like that. She had, in the Pinna World, they bring everybody in the holding area. There's like 60 runs, right? So we would warm our horse up and we just stand in front of the fan and chill out like this, right? And then we'd put the chain back over his nose, warm him back up, and then take the chain off and let him relax. And then you don't have a horse that's falling asleep when he should be on the job. So he definitely knows the difference when that chain is over his nose or under his nose and when it's relaxed like this. Now what Macy was saying is be careful doing this, that you keep your horse's head right here, because you do not want him to get his head low and step through that loop, because you'll really have big problems.
Yeah.
This won't give, so it'll be his neck that has to give.
Okay. We'll flip this around real quick.
Very good.
We have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Whew. My nose is running. I couldn't sniff because the mic was right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think I outran my hat.
No, let me see. Are you cut off or are you guys okay?
you are all set. Go up a little bit. There you go. Okay. So.
Okay.
There you go.
Sharpen the setup when you're pushing the hind back and keeping pressure at the same time. It's up to him to learn to plant square. Yeah. So all I want is I want control. You can move him out of the way. So basically what I'm doing, for me, when I'm setting him up, is I'm going like this. Just like that, right? Just push it back, pull it forward. Push it back, pull it forward. And all I want him to do is, if he's finding a setup, right? So he's moving this leg. When I pull forward, I want it to do this. If I push back, I want it to do this, right? I want it to be light, so that when I cluck, he comes up and takes a step. So back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, until he finds that. And then I stop. So I'm gonna let him find square, right? So in the beginning, if you pull it forward and it moves, pet him. And then push it back, and if it moves, pet him. And then get to where it can just move all the time, and you can dig a little hole with your foot,
Like
right?
a little trench.
Yep, so this is what we taught our chrome horse to do in the beginning, was dig a little trench like this. That's all I want, the ability to move it. And then once he's moving it every time I ask, then when he moves it square, I'll just stop asking. And he'll find where square is, rather than hunting square. But I'm not looking for a little move, right? I want a definite move of that leg. And in the beginning especially, I'm only ever gonna back him into position. Right? And I would advise most of you guys, when you're working with your horses, don't try to pull them forward into square.
Yeah.
That's really, it's an awkward move for a horse to make.
Because they usually like move their front legs and they kind of lean
Yeah.
into you.
Yep, so what you should do is pull that hind way up and then push it into square. And your horse will learn to set up way faster.
And I think if you pull them into you, like you're more likely to step back.
Yes,
And then it's just,
bingo.
it's really hard.
Because then you're moving your feet in reaction to him. Go, sweet.
Karen said, what if the front feet get too close together?
So then so my horse's feet won't get too close together because I make him do this and do this, right? So my horses are able to make these moves all the time, right? So then if he gets too close together, I can just pull him out here and back him in, right? So what you're doing again is not letting him find the setup, you're chasing the setup most likely. That you're like, well, he's standing like this, so now I gotta make him little move over here like this. If my horse moves in too tight like this, I'm gonna move him way out and then back in.
Yep. And then where would you like us to send the confirmation pictures to? Yeah, you can just send them on here.
Yep.
Or message them to us, or Instagram, anything like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be really
Our
good.
DMs. Yeah, you can just send them there.
Yep.
We might go live tonight or tomorrow. You guys want to send pictures of your horses to us?
We'll just go. So
We're gonna go over your
Yeah.
guys' horse confirmation and stuff.
yeah, so we're gonna do some confirmation stuff. We talked a little bit about it with the bloodlines, form to function. So I want to have you guys horse pictures, and we'll go over the pictures and kind of decide like, oh, this is a good horse. This is not a good horse. This is what I think this horse will be really natural at. This is what he's not gonna be natural at, and we can kind of identify. Hopefully, you guys can send your picture in and then be on the live and say,
Yeah.
that's exactly right, or you're completely wrong.
Yeah.
Which would be fun either way, right?
Mhm.
Good, good. What else you got?
That's all I got right now.
That's all you got right now.
That's all I got now. I'm freezing.
Just because you can't work your phone.
I know, I'm freezing.
Good. Should we be using a chain that long? Okay. Not to speak Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Very good. So hopefully that helps you guys take kind of a horse that's pretty good at showmanship and take him to the next level, right? We had a lot of people asking about how do we make the jump to be
They said the wind is
drowning out.
drowning out the sound.
too much
I
wind
know.
sound. Yeah. Let's
Um,
move this way.
You want to just tell them again before, because that probably
Ah!
drowned out the sound. Is that back?
All right. So if you want to just reach up with your hand right here.
Wait, like that?
Yep. Yep. Okay, so we'll repeat that. So send us your pictures of your horses. We're gonna go live tonight or tomorrow. We'll let you know, and we're gonna go over the conformation and hopefully find out. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys if I think that horse should be good behind, or if I like the way his shoulder ties in, or like his neck ties in, and then hopefully you guys can tell me, because you'll be on the live, tell me like, yeah, my horse is really good behind, or he's not so good up front, or this is what I struggle with, and you'll find how those two things should match up.
Yeah.
Right. Those two things should really line up. That your horse that's not good behind is probably not going to be made good behind either.
Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully
So-
we can get it, we can like put it on the screen and like draw on it. Which
That's
would
the
be really
plan.
Fun. Yeah.
Yep, that's the plan.
So
So
we'll
it'll be
have to
like
work on that.
interactive. You guys can have my monitor screen and we can draw lines on it and stuff. Macy's trying to let him get his next one.
Sorry.
So yeah, so that's taking your showmanship horse kind of to the next level. How do we get that horse that's got these little nagging problems and just get them all out, wipe them all out at once, right? The majority of your little nagging problems will be fixed by just making him kind of not think about showmanship and go back to basics, which is true of most things,
But yep,
right?
it is.
Like if you're trying to like fix one little nagging problem in your riding, just go back to basics and it'll fix itself.
It will.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys.
Thank you guys.
If this video helped you, make sure you share it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. I can't add your friend requests. I know you guys have been
But
sending
don't
me a
worry,
ton.
I can.
Macy can add your
People
friend
have been
requests.
adding me, and thank you.
Yep. I'm at the max friend limit, so you're gonna have to follow us on Facebook, follow LaRose Show Horses,
Or
or
Instagram. My Instagram too.
yep, Instagram or YouTube or whatever that ends up being. Okay. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be here tomorrow.
We will be here tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be here tomorrow.
Hopefully
We'll be live
nicer
again.
weather and it won't be so windy and cold.
It's supposed to be back to 52. So we'll probably do some riding then, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thank you
Awesome.
guys. I love you all.
Very good. We love you guys. Be safe out there.
Oh, and if you're catching the replay, make sure you come in a row so we can
Yes.
over here.
Don't just creep. Let us know you're there. We want to hear from you. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
See
We'll see you in the
ya.
next one.